the new rock star. Get to know all about the pet rock craze. Believe it or not, animals aren't the only pets. Rocks can be too. The pet rock craze all started with marketing executive Gary Dahl in 1975. Dahl came up with the idea while he was chatting with friends about pets. He noticed people spending a lot of time on their pets. Out of humor, he joked that a rock would be the perfect pet because it required no care. This simple yet unusual idea led to the birth of the pet rock toy. Dahl put an ordinary stone in a cardboard box with breathing holes and a bed of straw. The pet rock also included humorous instructions on how to care for the rock. The pet rock became an instant hit. Many people found the idea of having a rock as a pet both funny and absurd. In just a few months, over 1.5 million pet rocks were sold. Though the craze faded over time, it showed how clever marketing and bold ideas could become a big success.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Mike.
And Mike, do you have any pets or have you had any pets before?
Oh yes, I have a pet cat now. I've had cats for many, many years. Let's see, what else have I had? Birds, I've had fish. What else
Dogs?
have I had? Never had a dog.
Okay.
Never had a
so you've
dog.
always been a cat person.
My family are cat people. I guess we're busy, so sometimes taking care of a pet can take up a lot of your time, and dogs obviously take up more of your time.
A little bit more.
Plus, if you live in Canada, you really have to be determined to have a dog, because walking a dog in the snow in February is not really fun for you or for the dog, most dogs. So that's why I like the low-maintenance pets, pets that don't take a little bit less work than some of the others. And I think today we're talking about probably the most low-maintenance pet ever.
I've never heard of this before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
But you could have a pet rock.
A pet rock?
Yeah.
Okay, so rock, we're not using that as a term for like a baby cat or a baby lizard. It's really a rock.
An
a piece
actual
of
rock.
Stone.
Yes, that's right. So this is the new rock star. Get to know all about the pet rock craze. I know, you're so fluffy and cute.
I think it needs to go to the bathroom. It's a rock. What is going on here?
I have no idea, but should we read the article to learn a bit more about these new pets, perhaps?
If we have to.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do that now.
All right, so it says, believe it or not, animals aren't the only pets. Rocks can be too, right? So this is like kind of a new fad here. You can have rocks as pets. What does the phrase believe it or not mean?
Believe it or not is sort of when I'm telling you something that seems very, very surprising, almost so surprising and strange that you might go, nah, that can't be true. Well, believe it or not, it is true. I'm not saying you can't believe it. I'm just saying you should believe it even if you don't want to believe it, because it's true. Believe it or not, I sat next to Tom Cruise on my flight from Hong Kong yesterday.
No way.
No, I didn't. That's not true. But if it was true, you would be so surprised that, of course, that would be a good time to use the phrase, believe it or not. I'm telling you something that you might go, no. And I'm saying, yes.
Yeah, that would be so
true.
cool.
And believe it or not, people have had pet rocks before.
Yeah, it says the pet rock craze all started with marketing executive Gary Dahl in 1975. Okay, so it's like, a few years back. I had no idea that this was something so far back ago. But he started this craze. It's a word that we need to learn here. It's a noun, and it's an interest in something shared by a lot of people. It doesn't last very long. Like, for example, this year for the Olympics in the summer, there was a huge craze in learning sports like badminton, for example. Everybody was like, I want to do badminton now because of course, our Olympic winners. We had Gary Dahl, who was a marketing executive, and an executive is basically someone in a very high position, especially in business. and they're the people who make the decisions and they make sure that these things are put into action. So he's kind of like a big boss, basically.
Basically, yeah. Sits at a desk, wears a suit and tie, has a lot of meetings. Tells people what to do. Tells people what to do, things like that. So this guy had this brilliant idea. It says Dahl came up with the idea while he was chatting with friends about pets. Okay, like a lot of incredible discoveries or inventions or ideas. It came about when he was just doing some other things and then all of a sudden he had an amazing idea. This came when he was chatting with his friends. When you're chatting with someone, you're just having a casual talk. This is small talk. This is not, I have to talk to you about something really important. It's not that. It's just, hey, how you doing? What's going on? What did you do last week? Oh, that's interesting. Me, I'm fine. We're just chatting. We're just talking casually in a friendly, not really important kind of way. For example, Megan and her friends met for coffee and a quick chat. If you guys have heard the expression small talk, that's basically what small talk is. It's people having a chat, we could use it as a noun, or it's people chatting, casually conversing or talking about, whatever.
Yeah, maybe not too important things.
No.
You can also say chit-chat as well.
Ooh, chit-chat.
Yeah, chit-chat.
There you go.
Okay, so next the article says he noticed people spending a lot of time on their pets. Okay, so these pets I assume are like about cats, dogs, and
typical pets, yeah.
Like birds and fish.
Exactly.
But before we get into this sentence, we do have a language in focus that we have to take a look at first. So let's take a look. So today's language in focus is sensory verbs, okay? Sensory verbs are used to express the perception of an action happening to someone or something, which is the object. So here, after the object, you can use the base form of the verbs or the present participle or the past participle, okay? Sensory verbs can be categorized as follows. So it can be visual. So you will use verbs like see, watch, look at, notice, observe. They can also be auditory, which is meaning to hear. So of course you will use verbs like hear or listen to, and tactile, which means to touch or to feel. So for example, in our article, we used it with a verb in the ing form. So here the article was he, which is Gary Dahl, noticed people spending a lot of time on their pets. We use this form to show or emphasize that the object, which is people, is actively or experiencing something. Here's another example of using the verb in its base form. I can hear the girl sing every afternoon. So sing is in its base form. Now, we can use another example of using verb in its past participle form. So for example, we can say, the child saw his father taken away by police officers, okay? Now, the object is passively experiencing something, which is being taken away.
Okay, so there's marketing executive Gary Dahl just talking with some friends about pets. People have pets. They take their dogs for a walk all the time, even in the rain. Oh my gosh. And so that kind of led to a bit of an idea that really just came out of a joke. It says, out of humor, he joked that a rock would be the perfect pet because it required no care. All right.
That's so true.
That's kind of funny. And if you think about, if you think your dog is too much trouble and feeding your cat is tough. Oh, and when you go away, you always have to find someone to take care of your
pet sitter.
Dog. Or, hey, if you had a rock, it doesn't walk, it doesn't drink, it doesn't eat. You can just leave it there, go away for a week, come back, the rock will be fine. A pet rock, who's gonna buy that? So this was really just something funny, and that's what we mean when we say humor, all right? If we're talking about your sense of humor, we're talking about your ability to laugh and make jokes. Humor is kind of like comedy. Comedy is a form of humor. We can have humor in written form, like funny stories. Of course, humor in films, like comedies and things like that. And basically, it's just making jokes, laughing at jokes, and understanding jokes, appreciating funny things. For example, known for his humor, Jerry is always always ready with a quick joke. Okay, so even if something normal happens, this guy Jerry, he might find a funny way to talk about it or the funny situation in a normal thing. All right, we also had this phrase, out of having something as a motivation.
All right. So yeah, and we said that as well, like basically pet rocks require no care at all.
Require no care at all? No,
right? So require just basically is a verb and it means the need to do something or to do something because it's necessary or to depend on someone or something. So like, yeah, for example, some countries require you to have a visa in order to visit or travel there. Like without it, you'll be denied entry to the country and maybe even deported. Yeah. Oh no, you don't want that to happen.
No.
Okay. Or another example is like pets and dogs and cats. They require a lot of care and attention. Dogs need their human friends to play with them and to pet them and to hug them, or else they'll feel very, very sad. Okay. So I've thought about this. I've thought about, okay, well, besides, cats and dogs, maybe you can have a pet plant. But here, the sentence says, these plants require plenty of sunshine in order to grow. So yeah, not only just sunshine, they also need water as well. So still, you need to take care of the plants.
That's true. A lot easier than a real animal pet, but a plant is still more work than a pet rock.
Yeah.
So let's get back to Gary Dahl's kind of strange but interesting idea. This simple yet unusual idea led to the birth of the pet rock toy. Someone actually said, we're gonna make this thing. And the pet rock toy was born. But that came out of his kind of interesting idea that led to something else, led to the pet rock toy that was eventually being sold in stores. When something leads to something, this is a good way to kind of shorten your story down a little bit. You're not telling me about every single thing that happened from A to Z, from the beginning to the end. You're kind of skipping over some parts. It all makes sense. This happened and then this happened. And in the end, something else happened. So all of this led to use the past tense of the verb lead to, or led to in the past tense, it all ended up resulting in something like this. Okay, so to lead to means it becomes or it became or the final product was something like that. So let's get back to Mr. Dahl. So he's got the idea. Someone's like, we're going to do this. But what would just stop me from going out and picking up a rock and go, I got my own pet rock, I'm not going to buy yours.
Why would you buy something like that?
The earth is made of rocks. So why am I buying one?
Well, his were a little bit special because it says, Dahl put them in ordinary stones in a cardboard box.
Ooh, in a box.
With breathing holes.
Breathing holes.
And a bed of straw. That's actually super cute.
A little bed for my rock.
And then it breathes. Super cute, right?
I guess so.
Okay, so he did actually, kind of package it and market it to make you go, okay, it's alive, I think. And what he did was he used a cardboard box, which is a noun. It's basically a material that's pretty thick. It's like stiff paper. You get it when you buy stuff online. They're usually like in a pale brown color. And yeah, they're usually made for making boxes. So like if you buy cereal, it comes in cardboard boxes. If you do online shopping, they give you cardboard boxes as well. Now these little pets are super cute. They have their own little straw beds. Okay, a straw is a noun. It's basically stems of wheat or other grain plants that have been cut and dried. And yeah, like for example, the famous story of the three little pigs, where one pig builds his house out of straw, and of course the big bad wolf blows it away because it's very light. It's not protective at all.
No.
But we can use straw in a sentence like this. There were a lot of beautiful straw hats and bags at the local market.
Oh, okay. And of course, straw is also found in the ground in floors of barns and places like that for the animals to lie down on. And that's, of course, why your little rock came with a bed of straw in its box.
So cute.
All right. We have a little bit more about care for. So let's see how this phrase is used in our next sentence. It says, the pet rock also included humorous instructions on how to care for the rock. Okay, learning how to care for a rock would take about 5 seconds because you don't really need to care for a rock. Generally, we care for things that can't take care of themselves, that can't help themselves to be safe and healthy and all those other things. We care for things like babies. We might care for someone when they're very sick or when they're very old, or like an animal, like a pet that can't get its own food or its own water, or we just want to make sure its life is as safe and comfortable and healthy and happy as possible. We, the people with the skills, we, the people who can do things for other people or for animals so that they are happy and healthy. We care for them. It might even be someone whose job it is. We often think of nurses in hospitals or teachers in schools as being in charge of caring for the sick people in the hospital, caring for their students in the school. This older person is in charge of these younger people, and one of their main jobs is to make sure these people, sick, old, young, children, are safe and happy. They're being cared for. For example, the volunteers care for the animals at the shelter, feeding and playing with them regularly. I'm sure they're also washing them and feeding them and making sure that they're healthy as well.
All right, so let's continue reading. The article says the pet rock became an instant hit. Many people found the idea of having a rock as a pet both funny and absurd. Okay, yeah, absurd is something is like, it's crazy, it just doesn't make sense.
It's weird, and yeah, exactly.
That's why we're like, huh?
It is kind of weird. Remember, this was the 1970s. People didn't have Netflix, computer games, video games. So maybe people were entertained by things like pet rocks. But it was very successful. In just a few months, over 1.5 million pet rocks were sold in a few months.
I know that number is pretty absurd, right?
That is nuts.
Here it says, though the craze faded over time, it showed how clever marketing and bold ideas can become a big success. All right, so let's take a look at the word fade. It's a verb and it means to disappear gradually or to lose importance. For example, fads or trends, they fade. They don't last forever, so one thing might be super popular today, but over time or in a few months, it's not popular anymore. These trends fade. For example, we can say the little girl's smile faded when her brother spilled her ice cream on the floor. Oh no.
All right, it was definitely a very bold idea, very bold of this company to take a chance on selling something that people could have just gone, no way, I'm not giving you money for a rock. That's silly. But it worked, and it was definitely a risk that they were taking. It was, dangerous in a way. I mean, no one was going to get hurt, but the company could have lost a lot of money and just looked kind of stupid, right? So it was very bold of them to do this. If you do something bold, you do something daring, something brave, something that other people might go, oh, you did that?
No way.
Wow, you're so brave. I could never do that. So it could be something kind of dangerous, like jumping out of an airplane, going skydiving. That could be bold. It could be talking to someone in a way that might get you in trouble or something like that. That could be very bold. You could get in trouble and you could fail and you could look very silly if you try to do something bold and it doesn't work. But if you take a chance, you never know. As they say, who dares wins. Here's an example sentence. It was very bold of Darren to just walk up and ask the movie star out on a date.
Oh my goodness.
Darren's nobody.
Yeah, that's very bold of him.
Oh, did he or she say yes?
I don't know.
Would you do that? I wouldn't do that.
I would.
Too shy.
I would be too embarrassed to do that.
For sure.
All right. Well, that's all about pet rocks. Do you like today's topic? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our YouTube channel and Facebook page. We do have another day coming along.
Yes, we do.
But before that, we have our For You chat.
That's right. So imagine it is now 1975. You've just seen a TV commercial for a pet rock. And you're with your friend, and would you ever consider getting a pet rock? Why or why not? If your friend said, do you want one of those? What would you say?
Oh, no, I probably would not. I don't think that would really appeal to me, to be honest. I mean, like, but I guess like maybe you might be influenced by your friends sometimes. So if one person has it and then everyone has it, then maybe I might get one. I don't know.
That is a very good point. I think it might be a cool thing to just put on your shelf. You know, I mean, I don't think I'd be sitting there with my pet rock,
brushing it,
watching TV shows and cuddling on the sofa.
So cute.
But it might be kind of a cool. And I would definitely love to have an original 1975 pet rock now.
That would be cool, actually.
That would be very interesting.
I wonder how much they cost now.
Yeah.
It must cost a lot of money.
I have no idea. So I would consider getting one, but it would have to be in the right situation. What about you guys? We're going to have more about pet rocks tomorrow. So go home, water your rocks, and come back tomorrow to join us.
Okay.
Bye.
See ya.
Vocabulary Review.
Chat. During long car rides, my friends and I chat about our lives because we have time to kill. Humor. This show is dark and scary sometimes, but it also uses humor to make things seem less serious. Require. Taking care of a plant requires watering it regularly and providing the right amount of sunlight. Straw. Before modern times, most beds were made of straw because it feels very soft to lie on. Fade. The singer only really had one popular album, but then she faded from public view. Bold. Everyone said Larry was bold to point out the teacher's mistake in the middle of class.
字彙小补帖
Craze. Executive. Cardboard. Absurd. Absurd.